Hey there guys, we're going to be going back to Dark Visions number 29, Final Boss, and we're going to be trying a wind clear. Now, I'd like to use Zidane for the wind party, but I don't have him, so we're going to be using Rain as our leader for the wind party instead. I'd like to say thanks to Aringdin, if I'm saying his name correctly, from Discord. He gave me the idea to use Rain as the leader, and it's going to work out pretty well, at least better than my previous clear. So this is the party we're going to be going with. We're going to be using mid for jumping and the wind amplify field. Rain basically as our leader skill, also a good damage dealer. Black Flame Reagan is going to be our breaker, also deals a decent chunk of damage. Zidane is going to be for spreading the killers and the buffs and all that. He's also going to be sealing the boss. And we even geared him for damage, just saying. Chizuru is going to be our killer source that Zidane is going to steal. Other than that, she's going to be basically just damage. Also, she's going to be giving us a big stat buff, I should mention. And then Malphasy is going to be singing Zidane's song, as well as dealing damage and doing the Imperil field. So this is the party. Let's get in here and give it a go. Turn chart will be in the comments. Gear will be shown at the end. And let's see what kind of damage we can deal. So this party, by calculations, can do between like 19 to 25 billion. On the high end 25. We're going to do like 22, 23 or so. Okay, so here is turn 1. We get ambushed. Now, the ambush is a 50 in peril. Also, the boss will frequently be doing imperils during the fight, as well as cover ignoring fixed magical elemental damage of all the elements. So, to deal with this, I went ahead to Clash of Wills and got the Avatar's Tenant. This is going to give us a 3-turn 150% to all element buffs. So this will negate the boss's Imperil as well as all the elemental damage. It's only for 3 turns, but thanks to Zidane, we're going to be able to spread that multiple turns. So with that buff, we are now immune to all of the elements, even when the Imperil is still active. So that handles all the elemental damage for the fight. So because my mid is only EX1, on turn 1, she's just going to fill her LB gauge with the Magnus ability. Our Black Flame Reagan will do defensive barrier for the mitigation. Then we're going to do Mountain Dive, and then whatever. It doesn't really matter the third action. Malphasy in the base form will sing I Wanted to Go With You. Chizuru is going to do Eastern Winds for the Katana Imperil and the Wind Imperil. Strong Samurai Spirit, and that's because it's a 380 defense and spirit buff that we're going to be stealing later, and then a 350 magic buff for what's her name, Malphasy. And then we're going to do Focused Strength. This is a 400 attack power buff that Zidane will extend for the whole party. And then 5 stacks of Mirage. That's going to deal with the physical damage on turn 1 and turn 2. Now on turn 2, the boss does Stop, so Zidane from the Lakshmi Esper will buff Stop immunity. So here's the boss's turn 1. Some elemental damage, we immune. Some physical, we Mirage. And the boss breaks our party. The breaks are certainly very irritating. Now, if you bought the limited item, Pause of Prosperity, we're going to now use that to cure the breaks and give us break immunity. If you don't have Pause of Prosperity, there's not really an alternative. Just skip that step, and then you'll just have to deal with being broken on this clear. On turn 2, Flames of Reagan is going to do, we're just going to refresh the Mountain Dive, then we're going to fill his LB, because mine's only EX1, and then we're going to use Azure Crimson Opposition. That's going to be a 89 defense and spirit break, and a 150 fire imperil for Rain, basically. Mid on this turn will do her shifted LB. That's going to modify or buff her jump, as well as give us a 40% wind amplify field. Chizuru on this turn is going to do Insect Pulverizer. That's a self-only 250 insect killer buff. And now Zidane is going to steal some things. We're going to use Reflector. We're going to do critical on Chizuru to steal the 400% attack power, the 350 magic, and the 380 spirit and defense. We're going to also copy that 250 killer. And then we're going to use Elemental on really anyone. That's going to extend that 150 all resist buff for the party. Now on this turn, the boss is going to do Stop. We're immune because of turn 1. And the boss is also going to do Comet, a non-elemental magic attack. So we're going to Mystical Mirror on Zahn as the last action to seal the boss right here. Seal 1 time. And then Zahn is using full evasion, so that even though he's overriding his current evasion, he won't lose it. So here we go. So double physical, we're still miraging it. A single target Comet, I forgot to mention, on our Provoker, which we can't negate. That's just a relatively low damage attack. Chizuru's provoking with high spirit. So in the build, we've got Chizuru has 7,472 spirit. So there we go. So now on turn 3, the boss is going to AoE dispel our party, among other things. It does wind damage, elemental damage, we're immune to all that. But we're going to get AoE dispelled on this party. We're also going to get imperiled again, but we're still immune. So because we don't want to get Zahn dispelled, he's currently holding all our good buffs, we're going to stealth him to remove him from the fight for 1 turn. That way he does not get dispelled. Mid can go ahead and jump here, final Spine Shatter Dive, get her out of here, that way she doesn't lose her good Amplify. Now as far as the rest of the party, Chizuru is going to shift on this turn and start doing her 100% Amplify with Spring Blade. Thankfully this auto-cast every turn. By turn 5 it'll be at max potency, that way we don't have to deal with the Dispel. Flaring Rain will shift here and go ahead and do his shifted LB. And then, okay, so now we don't have Mirage anymore from Chizuru. That is now gone. The boss is going to do, again, 2 physical attacks. Chizuru is full evasion. Zahn is hiding. Mid is jumping. Malphase is singing. She's going to get hit. She's wearing defense gear. Rain is wearing DPS gear. He's going to get hit. Our Reagan is currently full evasion in his shift form. But he's going to use Thousand Needles to negate one of the Mirages. The other 2 are going to hit, or physical attacks. The other 2 are going to hit Rain and Malphase. Not much we can do about it. We took about 1,400 damage there, no big deal. There's some wind damage, we're immune. Here's the Dispel. We got completely dispelled. So once again, we are in the danger zone. But Zahn still has all those buffs. So even though he's still imperiled, he's still got all our buffs. He avoided the Dispel. He's going to share them. But before we do that, let's continue getting set up. We're going to kill next turn. So Reagan to the base form, we're going to reapply the mitigation with Defensive Barrier. That's general mitigation. Then we're going to do 150 Dark Amp and I'm Not the Man I Was Before, because those are, his base LB is locked to Dark. So we're doing dual element on him. Rain, same thing. He's dual element. So we're going to go ahead and Fire Amplify, just a pulverizing whatever. And then Armor, grant me power to refill his LB gauge. Chizuru on this turn will do Typhus' Spirit for more extra damage. And then Malphase on this turn is finally finished singing. The Zidane's STMR got cast after the Dispel at the beginning of turn 4, so we're all fully buffed with 300% LB damage. So in the shift form with Malphase, we're going to do in Aroga to amplify Rain and Reagan. We're also going to, imbue the party. We're going to do Skilled Scavengers for her own mod buff, Murderous Mob for the Imperil field, and then last action, Fleet Wing Flyers for the 150 amp as well as Magical Focus. Now Zahn will go ahead and spread those buffs from earlier. We're going to go ahead and do Projected Mirror to share all the buffs, the killers, the stat buffs, and most importantly, the 150 elemental resistance. And there's another Comet this turn, so Zahn will Mystical Mirror the Comet. Now, again, there's going to be 2 AoE physicals. We're evading Zahn, we're evading we're evading Chizuru. Malphase does have 50 evade. She may or may not get hit. Hopefully she doesn't. Unfortunately, Reagan and Rain are going to take 2 hits to the face. Not much we can do about that. They are using Auto Protect from the base forms, so hopefully we don't take a ton of damage, but we might lose a little bit. Looks like Malphase avoided one of the attacks, so we're going to lose something like 1,000 points on damage taken. If perfect RNG, we would have, not lost any points, but whatever, we lost some points. Okay, not many though. So now we're going to go ahead and do our damage. So Flaring Rain in the shift form is going to LB. That's triple Absolute Mirror. Reagan, base form LB, triple Absolute Mirror. Chizuru, shift form, Extreme Nova. Malphase, shift form, Extreme Nova. And then Zahn, just for that extra 1% damage, is going to use the vision card to chain, and then mid will drop in. So we're going to go ahead and basically just chain everyone together, or you could do the Extreme Novas and then the Rain and Reagan. That might actually be better just because Rain and Reagan are both 8 times chainers, or 8 times chain cap. That way you give the chance for the chain to build. And then just drop mid when the chain goes above like 20 something. So I'm going to pause the video and try to get a decent roll here, and then we'll resume. So I'm looking for like 23-ish, maybe 22 if I get bored of re-rolling. So let's see what happens. You know, it can go as high as 25 with perfect variance. We're not going to get that high though. See you in a second when I get a decent roll. Alright guys, here we go. Let's hope for a high number. At this point, I just want to get like 22 or better for the video. I was trying to get like a 23, 24, but that needs a really high roll. Give me like a 22 or something so I can stop the variance stuff. 23, that's a nice roll for the video. Unfortunately, Malphasy didn't evade very well this attempt, so, you know, 50-50 there. So we're going to lose some points for damage taken, but not too terrible. 18.6, not bad. That should be a new high for me. It is, actually. So let's look at the damage breakdown. So let's see who did what. So again, based on calculations, this team, my personal gear, my EX levels, etc., goes as high as 25 billion. We did 23, so not bad. So mid does between 4.3 to 5.7. So 5.0 is like literally directly average, so perfectly average on mid. Rain does 3.5 to 4.9. Rain did 4.3. Again, basically purely average. Wow. The rest must have high rolls. Reagan does 2.0 to 2.8. He did 2.5, slightly above average. Big Boy Zidane does between 95 million to 157 million. He did 131 million. Again, pretty average. Chizuru does between 2.4 to 4.8. She got a high roll. And then Malphasy does between 6.1 to 7.2. Malphasy got a near perfect. So that's where the high roll came in. Malphasy got a near perfect. Everyone else rolled basically average. Chizuru and Malphasy rolled pretty well. Big sad face on Rain and mid, not rolled in very good that attempt. We could have gotten like 24 something. Anyway, there's the clear. I personally rank up a little bit. 267, there's about 210 cheaters right now, so my actual rank after the cheater purge, well, of course it'll change over time, but right now, that's about rank 50, 50-ish, 55, so not bad. I actually wonder if I'll stay in the top 100 this Dark Visions. Probably not, you know, I'm sure people will push me down, but anyway, at the current time, I'm about rank 55 after cheaters. Just out of curiosity for fun real quick. We're going to look at my score on my friends list. I'm doing pretty good. Oh my god. A lot of people doing better than me. So they probably have, I would assume, either like things like EX3 Genesis for the Fire team or things like Zidane for the Wind team. Anyway, it's fun to just look around. So here is the party that we used. As far as unit swaps, obviously you swap Rain for Zidane. That's a super easy swap. Yeah, so this whole party is Wind, by the way. So every unit on the party gets Rain's leader skill, except for Zidane, because he doesn't get a leader skill because he doesn't have any categories whatsoever. But yeah, the whole party, so Rain for Zidane, 1-to-1 swap, and you'll do better because Zidane doesn't have to split his elements. He'll have 190% amplified, so he'll outdamage Rain on this party, assuming you have the same EX levels, all that kind of stuff. As far as the rest of the swaps, that's really kind of it. I guess you could swap Reagan for a different breaker. Your breaker of choice, really. Yeah. Anyway, so as far as rotation will be in the turn chart, will be in the comments. And as far as gear, so here's the Espers, by the way. The only critical Esper is Lakshmi on Zidane for stop immunity, to cast that on turn 1. So mid, didn't use the base form. Shift form, I'm too cheap to Moogle her STMR because she's only EX1. And I don't want to Moogle this early, so I just gave her the Dark Visions Katana. We're getting Katana in peril from, what's her name? Oh god, what's her name? Chizuru. So good enough, whatever. Jump damage versus bugs. And the whole party, the entire party is at neutral or better resistances, because the boss does a 50 in peril and we're doing a 150 all resist buff. So as long as you're not in the negative on anything, you'll take no elemental damage. So there we go. She jumps on turn 3, so really she's totally safe no matter what. You don't need any kind of defense or spirit on her. We immune everything, and she jumps before any damage actually comes in. So here's the jump gear. There's the setup. We gave her the wish card for the chain cap. I think she's using magisters regardless. Bug. She is maxed insect, and we're maxed jump. So there you go. If you have higher EX level, she'll do more damage. Flaring Rain in the base form is using, here we go, the Avatar's Celestite Chainmail of Will Plus. This is where we're getting the 150 resist buff from. You do have to get that in Clash of Wills. It does cost a lot of Xenostone. You know, if it's worth it for you, go for it. If it's not worth it for you, don't. Pause of Prosperity, this is our break immunity source. If you have this, great. If you don't have it, get broken. Shift form is damage. Now, here we go. So the, neutral to all resistances, don't need any status immunities. LB damage versus bugs. And he's a premium, gears for everything very easily. There we go. He's maxed on everything. So maxed. Also, he does take physical damage during the fight, so you want to make sure you door pod his defense if you can. Reagan in the shift form is using Titus's Garb or his STMR. He's full evasion in the shift form, that way we don't take any damage on turn 3. So full evasion, neutral or better resistances. I gave him 1,000 Needles to help out. I gave him Wisdom of Hess. By the way, Rain also, Wisdom of Hess in the base form. That gives us auto protect so that we take less physical damage on turn 4. So you really want that. So auto protect in the base form, shift form for Reagan, auto protect, full evasion, 1,000 Needles. In the base form, we are just geared for damage. He's maxed at everything. So maxed LB, maxed Insect Killer. There it is. Here's the setup. Sword and Greatsword build. That's fine because we're using both in perils. Here's the build. Here we go. A lot of killers. And then this card, basically because he gives killer. He gets 50 Insect Killer. If you don't have it, give him like the different Insect Killer. I don't know. You get the idea. Mastermind Zidane. We went for the full meme. We went for the damage. I even gave him a vision card. Don't judge me. So we gave him the vision card so we could do like an actual attack. This is completely optional. If you don't want to give him a vision card, you don't want to spend a Cactuar on him, that is okay. But if you just want to, get all the damage possible, there you go. So there's the vision card. The only important thing is that it's 100% evasion because obviously 500 defense, he would take a ton of damage if he got hit. So full evasion, and he's got 50 Insect Killer. Big boys on. Double-handed sword build, a little bit of chain cap. Again, this is all that really matters is that he's full evasion and then he's neutral resistances. The rest does not matter. And he's on Lakshmi for the stop immunity buff. Chizuru in the base form, she's our passive provoker. On turn 2, there is an attack that is non-elemental and cannot be stopped. So it's single target only. So she provokes that, takes like 100 damage, no big deal. Wisdom of Hess in the base form. Other than that, whatever. You don't need evasion in the base form because we shift before we run out of mirages. So there it is. Passive provoke and as much spirit as you can and neutral to all resistances or better. Shift form is damage. Now I geared her for 100% evasion because she loses a tiny amount of damage to go full evasion, but that means we don't take any physical damage at all on turn 3 or 4, so it helps our damage taken score. Neutral resistances, full evasion, which does hurt her damage a tiny amount, but there we go. Tide Vicious Spirit, Bug Killer, LB damage. Oh, and then cool Smile card because modifier buff double dips on her. And we do need Tide Vicious Spirit in the shift form because on turn 4 we're stuck in the shift. We're going to Tide Vicious Spirit to get ready. And in her shift form, she is maxed LB, maxed evasion, and maxed Insect Killer. If you can't gear her full evasion, you can either RNG it or just take extra damage. Your choice. Malphasy in the base form. Now, because she's singing, she can't evade on turn 3, so we geared her in as much defense as we could. Of course, her base form is very squishy, but we got to 4,000 defense. There we go. So here's the setup. Neutral resistances, and then I wanted to go with you. This is our source of 300 LB damage after a few turns. Here it is. It's a multi-layered song. So 300 LB damage, and then of course she doesn't really need to, she doesn't need to do anything on turns 1, 2, 3 because she's a great singer. Wisdom of Hess for the auto buffing, and then yeah, that's the base form. Shift form, of course, damage. In this clear, she is literally our highest damage dealer, which is kind of awesome. 190% amplify is a pretty big deal. There it is, neutral to all. Now, she does have 50 evasion just naturally. She can't really gear for it, but she does have it naturally. So there's an RNG chance you might even get a perfect on damage taken score if she evades all the attacks. Unfortunately, on our good run, she didn't. No, she is a physical killer, by the way. Physical killers for her LB. Maxed insect killer, maxed LB damage. Here's the setup. There we go. And then we gave her Rick's card because we wanted lots of damage. And that was the clear. So, I guess I'm now done with the Dark Visions. I've shown a Crystal clear. I never did record my Fire clear, which I might do just for fun, like tomorrow or something. It's not as good as this clear, but if you don't have this clear, the Fire clear might work for you. I guess I'll go back and record it tomorrow. It does less damage, but it's, Fire. Anyway, here was the Wind clear. Turn chart in the comments. Hope it helps. See you later.